This is Land of Havilah, 1 Samuel 19. Saul is insanely jealous and afraid of David. He tried to kill him with a spear twice and missed. He sent David to battle multiple times, hoping to get him killed, but each time David came back with an even better reputation. Saul's still trying as we go to verse 1. Saul spoke to Jonathan his son and to all his servants that they should kill David, but Jonathan, Saul's son, greatly delighted in David. Comment: Jonathan loved David, plus Jonathan fears God, so he's not about to follow an evil order, even from his father, even though his father is king. When we fear God, he's our only ultimate allegiance. This is why Christianity and totalitarianism don't mix. Dictators demand full allegiance, but they'll never get it from a Christian. The most they'll get is obedience to legitimate orders. If even only one Christian is present, he might expose the dictator's evil intent. Obviously, the dictator won't be in any mood to tolerate that, so he'll remove Christians as far as possible from positions of influence, persecute them into silence if possible, or kill them if necessary. Dictators killed millions of Christians in the 20th century and untold numbers before that, and it still goes on. The killing will crescendo in the final Great Tribulation. Coming up, Jonathan will expose himself to the risk of doing the right thing as we go to verse 2. Jonathan told David, saying, "Saul my father seeks to kill you. Now therefore please take care of yourself in the morning and live in a secret place and hide yourself. I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and I will talk with my father about you, and if I see anything I will tell you." Comment: Jonathan told David not to come to work in the morning. He should hide in a certain spot in a certain field until further notice. Jonathan's going to talk to his father and bring David the report. Verse 4. Jonathan spoke good of David to Saul his father and said to him, "Don't let the king sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his works have been very good toward you. For he put his life in his hand and struck the Philistine, and Yahweh worked a great victory for all Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Why then will you sin against innocent blood to kill David without a cause?" Saul listened to the voice of Jonathan, and Saul swore, "As Yahweh lives, he shall not be put to death." Jonathan called David, and Jonathan showed him all those things. Then Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as before. Comment: David's back to work for Saul, and everything's okay for now. Verse 8. There was war again. David went out and fought with the Philistines and killed them with a great slaughter, and they fled before him. Comment: David serving in the palace again and in the military again. Even though David once again showed himself to be irreplaceable by killing the Philistines with a great slaughter and causing them to flee. Verse 9. An evil spirit from Yahweh was on Saul as he sat in his house with his spear in his hand, and David was playing with his hand. Saul sought to pin David to the wall with the spear, but he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he struck the spear into the wall. David fled and escaped that night. Comment: That's the third time David was playing music and Saul tried to spear him. The evil spirit is from Yahweh. Yahweh's allowing these attacks on David, but protecting him at the same time. Why would Yahweh do that? Isaiah 40:28, quote, "His understanding is unsearchable," end quote, which basically means sometimes we can't understand why he does what he does. His understanding is unsearchable. The New American Standard says his understanding is inscrutable, end quote. You can't figure him out sometimes, you just keep trusting. Verse 11. Saul sent messengers to David's house to watch him and to kill him in the morning. Comment: Saul sent hit men to David's house. They plan to kill him when he leaves home in the morning. Still in verse 11. Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, "If you don't save your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed." So Michal let David down through the window. He went away, fled, and escaped. Comment: As we'll soon find out, this time David left town and took refuge with Samuel. We haven't heard anything from Samuel lately because Samuel stopped visiting Saul some time back, 1 Samuel 15:35. Michal let David out through the window, and coming up, she knows Saul's hitmen will figure that out sooner or later, but later is better. Verse 13. Michal took the teraphim and laid it in the bed and put a pillow of goat's hair at its head and covered it with clothes. When Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, "He is sick." Saul sent the messengers to see David, saying, "Bring him up to me in the bed that I may kill him." Comment, Saul says, never mind if he's too sick to walk. Bring him here, bed and all, and I'll kill him myself. Verse 16. When the messengers came in, behold, the teraphim was in the bed, with the pillow of goat's hair at its head. Comment, a teraphim is an idol. Apparently there was a life-size teraphim in the house, which is disturbing to say the least. Maybe somehow Michal brought it into the house sometime before, not to worship it, but in anticipation of just such an event. Maybe David doesn't have authority over his own house because his father-in-law is so powerful. If David were worshiping the teraphim or even tolerating it voluntarily in the house, it would be devastating to his relationship with the Lord, Deuteronomy 7:25 and 26. Coming up, Saul's calling Michal to the carpet, verse 17. Saul said to Michal, "Why have you deceived me thus and let my enemy go, so that he has escaped?" Michal answered Saul, "He said to me, 'Let me go. Why should I kill you?'" Comment, Michal says David threatened to kill her if she didn't help him escape. That's a lie, but falsehood is a better word. It's a justifiable falsehood. This is one of multiple examples of justifiable falsehoods in the Bible, such as when the midwives lied to Pharaoh, Exodus 1:19, and when Rahab lied to the king of Jericho, Joshua 2:4, and when Ehud told the king of Moab he had a message for him when in fact he had a sword for him, Judges 3:10, and when Samuel implied he was going to Bethlehem for nothing but a sacrifice, 1 Samuel 16:2. We'll be seeing more justifiable falsehoods coming up. Where did David go after he climbed out his window? Verse 18. Now David fled and escaped and came to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. He and Samuel went and lived in Naioth. Comment, Samuel's afraid of Saul also. Samuel took David away from his home to Naioth, which is apparently a different location in the same town of Ramah, about 3 miles from Saul's home in Gibeah. Verse 19. Saul was told, saying, "Behold, David is in Naioth in Ramah." Saul sent messengers to seize David, and when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying and Samuel standing as head over them, God's Spirit came over Saul's messengers, and they also prophesied. Comment, Samuel's the only prophet we know by name, but this is the second mention during Samuel's lifetime of a company of prophets or group of prophets, 1 Samuel 10:5. Saul's hitmen came looking for David, but they ran into the company of prophets first, and God disabled them by causing them to prophesy instead. Verse 21. When Saul was told, he sent other messengers, and they also prophesied. Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they also prophesied. Comment, 3 groups of hitmen failed. Verse 22. Then Saul also went to Ramah. Comment, Saul's coming to Ramah himself. Along the road to Ramah, still in verse 22, Saul came to the great well that is in Seku, and he asked, "Where are Samuel and David?" One said, "Behold, they are in Naioth in Ramah." He went there to Naioth in Ramah. Then God's Spirit came on him also, and he went on and prophesied until he came to Naioth in Ramah. Comment, Saul prophesied the rest of the way to Ramah. After he got there, verse 24, he also stripped off his clothes, and he also prophesied before Samuel, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Therefore they say, is Saul also among the prophets? Comment, apparently the public was witness to Saul's naked prophesying. In this chapter, Yahweh protected David by Jonathan's help and on the battlefield and from Saul's evil spirit for a third time, and by Michal's help, and by disabling 3 groups of hitmen, and by disabling Saul in a most humiliating and public way. David wrote Psalm 59 with regard to the incident when Saul's hitmen staked out his house. He said about the hitmen in verse 8, "You, Yahweh, laugh at them." 1 Samuel 20 is next at landofhavilah.net. 1 Samuel 20. This is the map of 1 Samuel 19. Saul's home was in Gibeah, about here. That location is now a suburb of modern Jerusalem. Samuel's home in Ramah is estimated to be about 3 miles away here. 1 Samuel 20 is next.